Good morning, class. It's me again. This is Reader's Workshop, where I want you to learn how to fluctuate, change your voice sound while seeing punctuations in the story and or characters in the story. Think about them. Think about how they are, who they are, and what purpose they have in the reading. Now, before I begin the reading, I want to go over voice fluctuation and punctuation marks. So, if you see a period, that means you're going to stop, take a breath, then continue reading. If you see an exclamation mark, that means you're getting excited or you're yelling, "Stop!" or "Happy birthday!" If you see a question mark, that means you're asking a question, your voice naturally goes up, and you're waiting for an answer. How are you today? Are those your pencils? If you see a comma, you would find those between words. Stop, pause, count to 3, continue till you get to the end of the punctuation mark. If you see quotation marks, that means the words between the quotation marks is where someone or something is doing the talking. Change your voice to that character to make the reading interesting. So, and always pay attention to your characters in the story. What are they saying? What are they doing? What purpose do they have? What reason do they have to be in that story? So I'm going to read to you Snow Queen by Hans Christian Andersen. And it's about in the 1800s, so this was written long ago. Once there was a boy called Kay and a girl called Greta, who were best friends. They were as close as brother and sister, and they lived next door to each other. Roses grew in the window boxes of their 2 houses and intertwined together, and grew together. In the summer, the children could sit in the balconies on the outside of their house, probably by a door or a window, and talk to each other. In the winter, they played in each other's houses. One winter, when Kay was visiting Greta and her grandmother, the children were reading their favorite book by the fire. Suddenly, Kay called out in pain. "My heart!" he cried, "and my eye!" From that moment on, he didn't want to play with Greta anymore. 2 splinters of glass, 2 pieces of glass from an evil magician's mirror had pierced Kay's heart and eye, had gotten into his heart and eye. Now his heart was as cold as ice. One day when Kay was playing on the ice, he tied his sled to that of a mysterious stranger. It turned out to be the Snow Queen, and she wouldn't let Kay go. She carried him away to her palace, so she took him. Greta couldn't understand what had happened to Kay and searched for him everywhere. In the end, she left their village determined to find him, wanting to find him. After weeks of searching, she met a talking reindeer who promised to take her to the Palace of Ice, where the Snow Queen was keeping Kay a prisoner. Greta had never been so cold in her life. The palace was made of ice. She ran through the halls of icicles and corridors, the halls of packed snow, until she came to a big room with a frozen lake in the middle. And on the lake sat her old playmate, Kay. "Kay!" cried Greta, but he did not know her. Greta ran across the lake, slipping and sliding. "It's me, Greta," she said, but still he did not recognize her. Greta could not bear it. She started to cry, and her hot tears fell on Kay's chest, melting the splinter of magic glass inside his heart. Then Kay cried too, and the splinter in his eye was washed away, and now they were friends again. Kay and Greta returned home. Greta's grandmother was waiting for them, and the roses were in full bloom. When they looked in the mirror, Kay and Greta saw that they had now grown up, but they still felt like children at heart. And that is the end. So it ended up being a happy story, but think of the characters. Think of that Snow Queen, what kind of person she was. Think of Greta, what kind of person she was. She was determined to find Kay. Now it's your time to read. Read to someone or something. If you have no one to read to, then read out loud to yourself. Make sure you change your voice. When you see punctuation marks, change the sound of your voice. Also, pay attention to the characters, what purpose they had, what reason they had to be in the story. If you don't have a book, look at your district website or class tag and read one of the handouts from there. I don't care if you read it 10 or 20 times. Reread. Practice makes perfect. So until next time, happy reading.